screen.
Oh, we're recording.
Yep.
Be on your best behavior. Share screens at the bottom. Oh, yeah, there's. Oh, excellent. Oh, I have my own whiteboard too.
Everything you could want.
Interesting.
We can give people another minute here. What's up, Travis?
This is going to be a mics on type of presentation once we get to the video. Just FYI.
Dope.
Might need some other people to talk. But we'll let people trickle in, but I'm just going to start rambling so I get comfortable.
Sounds good.
Planning on just starting out with a little bit of diagramming so we're all on the same page. Oh, nice. Tyler's got the video going.
Yeah, Chef Tyrob.
Do some diagrams and then I got a few games. We'll just watch I'll skip through all the slow parts and we'll just watch 20 minutes of a few different games and that's what I'm saying. Mike's on because I'd like to hear some other people just your little thoughts that come out, just like in the things about spacing. So you just be like, oh, that's a weird cut, for this, whatever sure. People want to say. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking the whole time. But I think
that's what we love, Steve.
The audio from YouTube should go through so we can hear Lepler or somebody too.
Yeah, it just depends on if you did the shared your audio or not. If you didn't, it's all good.
Maybe I will when I get there. I don't know. I haven't picked anything to share yet.
Looks like Tyrob's got a saucepan going.
The wooden spatula, see, preserve all that flavor.
Perfect.
Pick up Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Everybody can pull themselves out of bed by 10, right? By 9:30.
That's what it says.
That's where I can go play disc golf.
West Side.
Out of town. But I'd be there if I was in town.
I saw some people dragging their feet voting for 11 a.m.
All right. Well, I think we're probably good. If anyone else is going to join a little bit late, they can kind of catch up to us. So thanks everyone for joining. Stu's going to be hosting from here on, but he did mention earlier that he'd love for people to unmute themselves when we get to the video sharing portion to be able to have a little bit of a community comment kind of section going. But I'll hand it over to him.
Nice. Thanks, Bells. Yeah, I appreciate that. When we get to the videos, just kind of want a nice watch along session where we can all just comment. And today's presentation is called Spacing Out. It's about spacing on the field and specifically in the vert stack and maybe a little bit of some handler spacing stuff to think about too. All right, let's get things started. Share screen. Start out with a nice meme that I made. This is just thinking about spacing, in the offense and stuff like that. Timing your cut, throwing break side, cuts. Understanding that the vert stack is just the head stack that clears middle. You can unlock that last part. I think you're going to have a lot of success this season. Just my opinion.
Nice.
All right. Next, let's just, and this might be a set time where I want some captains to comment too, because this first thing I'm going to do here is just go through. Is this showing this? Is it showing a new paint screen with just these arrows and fields right now?
Not yet.
All right. Okay. Oh, because I can only show one window. Gotcha. All right. This is just some fields, and I figure we could get on the same page of like what we're talking about with spacing. So I think the simplest way, I'll put on this one, I think the simplest thing to do is just call it deep space, your dump space. And then this is where I want to ask the captains a little bit, like in the last presentation, we were calling it dark side, you know, and I'm more familiar with break side, but it's like our stack's here. Where'd our stack go? There's our stack. And like if we have the disk here, and this is the force. I mean, I'm just going to call it break side the whole presentation just because that's what I'm used to. But I just wanted to say, like, throw out there, maybe just calling it left and right, or calling it dark side, light side, or potentially with the death theme, we got dead side, live side. I don't know. Just some ideas, just throwing that out there. I don't know if you guys have any vocabulary planned or anything like that, but just something I was thinking about.
I plan on going with break side.
I like break side.
So force flick then for right-handed
this one,
backhand.
Yeah, this is a force flick, and this is, so we can just call these spaces break side, force side, deep, and dump. And I mean, we can get into a little more detail. I mean, you do have, oops, on lines. You do have your break side deep, force side deep, break side, like, I don't know. If you're making cuts and these are the spaces over here on this left one, like we should be making, if this is the discus here, like our in cuts shouldn't be, we should try and catch the disc at least by like here, right? We want to be able to gain yards so that we can take more advantage of the deep space. So that's what I'm trying to show over here on page 2 is that we can kind of call those cutting spaces right up here. Like these are more desirable cutting spaces right there. And then you kind of just have like your stack in the middle. And then you can, since your handlers can be more aggressive if you think that like the dump space becomes like a lot bigger this way. If the disc is just here in the middle. If we just have the disc here, you know, then your other handler could be positioned over here and they have some space down here, some space down here, or they can just run the strike cut over here. You know, if the disc is in this other position, you know, we're not really cutting into this space down here, but this is the handler space to cut into. And the people in this space have to be aware of that we're trying to cut into this space. And then also here's this big old space for whoever comes out of one in the stack to cut into. And then, I don't know, I guess just to tidy all that up, and then we'll move into some videos. Like you could tidy up this formation a little bit and just make it look a little cleaner and nicer if you kind of spread it out this way. I don't know. Just some ideas that I was playing with in Paint earlier. Like you kind of have your stack down the middle right here. Most of this space is where people are clearing, because if you're making cuts, you're going to be cutting from the back of the stack and you can force into this deep space. You can cut here. And like I was saying on this page over here, we're not trying to complete passes too much further past the middle of the stack. So that's how you know that you can just go back to the stack here. Or if you're on the opposite side, you could maybe cut in first, deep. And like, I think this is just a good way to think about the spaces. and then back into the stack. But I still think that the one way over here is like, I think this is the best to use just to talk about what's going on the field, and just kind of, and maybe just split the deep that way, because these spaces here are kind of anybody's game. Like this space over here and this space over here, like sometimes that's the front of the stack, sometimes that's the opposite handler, sometimes there's poaches like in these spaces, even though you're trying to throw to these spaces. So break side, force side, and also considering back half, like we're trying to complete it at the middle of the stack, because if we complete at the middle of the stack, then it just gives us isolation looks is the main reason there. Because let's say we have a stack here, like ideally you're completing the pass here, and since you were the top of the stack, that stack actually gets like shorter. So really the new top of the stack is like right there. And if they start running, like that's this entire deep space for them to choose what to do to how to score. And it's so easy for them to make a cut into the top half of where the new stack is going to be resetting itself, which is like up there. But that's enough drawn along. That's not really going to translate to anybody probably, but I think this super basic diagram will. And with that being said, let's just, to me, like just watching some videos, you know, we got 5-6 people hanging out in the chat. Maybe they turn it on and talk to, because to me, like I've never run the vert stack, and I've run all these other different offenses. Host stack and hex, I guess, is 2, but when you're doing that stuff, I mean, we watch games and we talk about how people are cutting, like, and we talk about our own offense, and I just haven't talked about vert stack a lot with anybody really. So other than the STDs pod where we're just talking about that while we're fucking throwing around at West Side. But I just think that having these video sessions and chatting a little bit, getting different thoughts out from different people, and then, you know, I'm the leader, so I get to say who's right and wrong today, and then we can just keep it focused on today's subject, which is spacing. So with that being said, I'm going to change the share to next gen. Sick. This is just 9-10. Ironside runs a bunch of vert stack. So, and then this next gen team is just running vert stack. And I feel like especially the next gen team is good to look at, because they're just, I mean, they're athletes that just joined up together. And I mean, this is our first year running this offense together. So I feel like people that are running on a team together for the first time is kind of, they're going to really be, they're paying attention to their spacing, I feel like. All right. Can you guys hear that?
No, we don't have the audio.
All right, hold on.
And a miscommunication between Kearns and Montague is going to lead to a break.
All right, that one doesn't count.
Russell Wallach from Alex Simmons. Great pressure D by Simmons, forcing the miscommunication. And that's exactly what you're looking for, playing that type of handler defense. A lot of times, you're not necessarily going to make a block a lot of the time, but if you can get the offensive players to miscommunicate with each other, if you can get one of the cutters to stutter step and maybe the throw.
Really nice pressure D. The thrower doesn't result in a D. A bit of, pardon the pun, righted the ship, it appears here in the second half. Back up by 2. And a huge pull by Neff.
Well, these teams do side stack and host stack for their pull plays.
Looks to Montague.
Of these next gen games that I was watching.
Miles Montgomery Butler poaching the lane off of Morrissey. Now Morrissey flips up.
And now they're filling into the center space. And I mean, they're not in a good vert stack, but they're all gathered in the center space.
Big gainer, and Mickle's gonna rip one deep. Allison Hall is wide open, and Jimmy Mickle.
And I mean, that one, I feel like
again.
Mickle's just a fucking beast. Like, I feel like that's nice where we're trying to complete that, like in the middle of the stack, if it's us.
The entire next gen tour.
Because not everybody on our team can throw like that. If we're cutting into the middle of the stack, we're gaining like 20 yards on our in cuts, then you get that better look, but whatever.
Wanted to call the travel.
I'm just talking to talk. Billy, unmute yourself and comment on this game too, please.
No dice for Neff. Goal
Thanks.
from Mickle.
It's interesting because
I don't
about
know.
half
Yeah,
I don't know when you
the
got here, but we
roster
just went
playing
over some
on
basic
local
spacing
Boston
talk, just
MLU
four
team,
side, break
the
side,
Whitecaps.
deeps,
And
organization. Now
the
I'm just
MLU, as many of
putting
our
on this
viewers
next
know,
gen V
Grant
Ironside where they
Travel
both are
isn't
running
active
fair amount of
all
vert
as
and
well.
trying
So
to
this is
get people to
first time
talk
in a while
about,
that
you know,
Neff thought he
good
could,
use of spacing, bad use of
make that travel
spacing,
call, and
decision making.
and
I feel
yet
like decision making falls
it was
under
not to
spacing
be.
too.
So Taylor works it up to Cooper. Capinos gonna rip one deep, but Dylan
Full play.
Freechild and George Stubbs
Terrible decision.
are there.
I mean, or just
Freechild.
oh, he says throw it way higher.
There's Stubbs pointing to the sky. He wanted him to float it a bit. He thinks he can win that matchup.
Mention, Ryan, we've seen Stubbs streaking deep a couple times this half, but Freechild gets the best of him this time. That Freechild-Stubbs matchup has been tight all game long.
Now, this is one of the worst spots in the
And
field,
really
in my
fun to
opinion.
watch.
Bringing the disc in on this cone right here.
Both of those guys are savvy enough cutters.
Yeah,
On the break
I
side
mean,
cone.
Cutting
Yeah,
sequences, they're
I think
building off of
because they turn it into the
previous
trap
cuts
side
throughout the
cone.
game, setting up under for late game deep shots and vice versa.
Nice throw to space
Wow.
here by Montague, and Montague is going to loft this one up in the air.
Yeah, you
Uh-oh,
take that
Kocher
throw all
looks to
day
be
though if you're
injured.
the defense.
Will Neff goes up.
Sure. Oh,
and
God.
Kocher in a lot of pain. That
Cramping?
Kocher came up limp.
Oh, just
Hobbling toward
fell over, kind of.
these next gen players with roster impact.
It's called getting in the next gen bus after playing a game against like every top club team in the country.
You're going to job.
Our
I don't think he
flaws
like
to see
got
what they
slammed
think about
into.
it.
To our observer, different. Jonathan Levy.
Oh.
Sam
Observers, Scott Wang, Dan Skippy Siegel. I don't think I could really. I feel like I would get carded if I referred to an observer as Skippy. But I don't know.
Henderson out the side are going to get another. Reb Holtz taps the
All right,
disc
here
and
we
play
go.
resumes. This will be Taylor to pick up. Take a look downfield at a vert stack.
I mean, I guess this is the same
from
thing as being on
Ironside.
that other
Interesting thing
cone.
about their vert
But
stack
I just
is
like
they
throwing
run
forehands
their
more, I
dump
guess. I
set
don't know.
From the front of the stack with no handler in the back.
No handler.
One of the
The
only
Ironside
teams that'll keep
6'1".
doing that. They feel like it puts them in more threatening dump positions. So they don't want to have somebody behind the disc.
Reb Holtz, marked by Morrissey, laser beam to the back of the end zone. Marquette and Pryle giving chase. This one's going to be too far.
Yeah,
So
I think that's
two
another
missed Huck
time where the deep
opportunities
shot isn't really
for
coming from
Ironside.
what we're looking to create with the
Don't see that
offense.
too often out of this squad.
No, I think here I'll go back. I think like
Handler in the
this is
pin
the
about
thing
their
I'm
vert
kind of
stack.
focused
They run
on.
their dump set from the
I
front
said a few
stack
times in here, like
with
trying to
no
complete
handler
it
in the
like
backfield.
even with like
One of
3 in the
only
stack, like
teams
that's a
that keep
strike.
doing that.
But like this cut here, like if you're vert, can you see my mouse?
Mhm.
All right, so like the vert stack is gonna be like what 10 yards away. You like they're not set up right now, but like your vert stack's like here. You have like guy 1, guy 2, guy 3. Like so, really, you should be trying to complete it like between guy 2 and guy 3 at least, because then guy 4 has like the total solo 1v1 deep and like under. But so that's what I was noticing with this guy. Like, I mean, they gain a lot of yards, but like right when he catches it, he's just, I don't know. They don't have really a great setup here, but I just feel like he catches it even with these guys who are already like, these guys are like all in handler position. And he just catches it even with all the handlers. So it's not really like a 1v1 deep. They still have like their poach set
I feel
up.
like it puts them in more threatening dump positions.
Whatever.
Most intense game that Ironside has played in
You
about
just
8 months. I guess we can give him a pass. What do you think, Mario?
I thought he was running.
Well, if Mark McCarthy wants to win this one, I wouldn't be giving him a pass right now. So Dylan,
Like, I don't know about that pass. Somebody back me up on this. Like, why are you throwing it?
It goes straight to the sideline. It's an open throw, which is a fundamentally good thing to hit, but strategically, it's not the greatest pass.
Like right here, where they have the disc to start, like they have the whole break side. They can attack the whole break side. Oh, it looks like they're forcing backhand here. So he swings it to the break side, right?
Mhm.
So I guess it's a break side swing. All right, I take it back.
bends one around to Freechild. Freechild looks back to Dylan. Neal covered by Prowl. Gets looked.
It's just what I'm saying. Like they're only gaining like 6 yards. It's a good. This is basically a reset. Like that's like the picture 2 I was showing earlier, where you have here. I'll draw some more spaces while we watch the game, but like. That's really just a reset. Like that's easily a handler reset space. That's like a strike from a handler's kind of space. It's not like really an in-cut gainer space.
Off now, Clark. Clark finds Scion. Scion marked by Taylor. Freechild burns up line past Stubbs again. Resets to Montague. Nice big swing from Montague to Trent Dillon. Trent Dillon's gonna rip this IO. Great matchup in the end zone. It's Freechild against Stubbs. And Freechild is going to call a foul here on Stubbs.
Soft. Super fucking soft.
And Freechild's going to say that Stubbs prevented him from getting to the disc. Some contact there, but Stubbs is obviously going to talk to Freechild and say he actually had the better position in the first place. And although there was contact,
from the review, it looked like George continued his path in a straight line. Dillon, when he recognized that he was getting caught under the disc, then was trying to correct, and there was contact.
And this is a really tough call to make, even for players sorting this out. If I'm Freechild, I'm saying,
yeah, Billy, that's what he's trying to say.
Play on the disc because there was contact. And if I'm Stubbs, I'm saying I was in better position anyway. He tried to go through me to get to
My bad.
where I was already in the best position. I think that the observers are going to rule that this one is not a foul, and I actually
Good call,
think
Skippy.
that's the right call. I don't fault Freechild for making
Oh,
the
what's
call,
up, Nick Rush?
but I
Oh,
think
hey.
it's the right ruling. By
Yeah, that was he just got beat.
So
Didn't even
Marquette
try.
Flips one up to Capinos again underneath.
These are decent.
Pryle
Those are
looking
pretty
at
decent
Stubbs. This
gainers,
time
but now you're
looks him off,
trapped.
And Stubbs finds
But
lots of
Stubbs is your
space
dude,
underneath
so
against Freechild.
Still
That's a good
the right
gainer.
depth of
Freechild's
cut,
pretty
though,
fired
to what
up.
your point's
Working
been.
hard on D.
Stubbs,
Beautiful crossfield hem.
Beautiful crossfield hammer to Marquette, and Marquette flicks.
Those are
flips
better
it to
like depth, I
Pryle
thought, than
for
the
a
previous
goal.
couple points.
Brilliant point there by.
Fired up after that.
And then also hammers, dude. We should have like
Watching what
designated
happened.
hammer practice. I feel like just for this, because I feel like that's gonna happen so many times.
To
Really
make
good
that
point.
one happen.
Like this guy right here is gonna get poached so many times, and like the blade flick kind of works too, I think. But I don't think the blade backhand works very well. And I think I think upside down is the way to go. I mean, I feel like we just need that
Looking
throw.
downfield, just watching the cutting, you can
That
tell
space.
Dillon was pretty fired up after
Yeah,
that.
we'll have to have people with the
Observer
green light.
overrule on the foul call.
The hammer green light.
But George showed
Just
a lot of
hammer,
composure.
just like a nice like
Coming under,
20-minute
fighting through a
session
little
of
bit of an
hammer
arm bar,
only, just to
throwing
see
the
who's
crossfield
absolute
hammer,
trash at them,
opening up the goal.
and they get the red light.
So after
I'm not buying Disney Plus, dude, no matter what they tell me.
a string of Freechild victories in that matchup, Stubbs gets the best of Freechild in the air, catches the under, and really creates the goal for Ironside.
These jerseys pretty
And now
pretty
they're
weak.
up 12-10 as
I'd
we
have to
move
say.
late into
Like,
the game. Maybe that's the
They
end
have a
of the
ship
third
theme, I
quarter and
guess, like,
crunch time.
but like I don't know, this little like needless spot sub on like the back left, like come on. That's right. I was gonna skip through all
Russell
these middle
Wallach.
portions.
Along with Matt Rebholz and George Stubbs.
Decent vert stack setup. I think like this is what I watched like a few of these next gen games, and like their opponents ran this same play too. The front two people of the stack run like a flood in a lot of these plays, and like you can see both of these guys are like they almost have this exact same footwork, like synced up. Like
Montague, and that's
That was
the
a
third
four-man
time we've
flood.
seen that flood play work. Now Jannon.
and that was a
downfield to
good, really
Mickle.
good depth
Interesting
for
matchup
Mickle
here with
too. He's your
Muffin
huck
guarding
guy.
Jimmy Mickle.
And if you're Jimmy,
It's like once he doesn't get that cut, like
and that's
all
the
right, hold on.
third time
They
we've
get
seen that
Mickle
flood
like this is
play
pretty
work.
good depth of
Now
cut.
Jannon.
Like that's pretty close to 3 in the stack. He's almost got a good 1v1, but like
Downfield to Mickle.
and then here's his 1v1, and then like at this point, like unless he throws 100 miles an hour, like that guy's not getting it in decent. He's not going to get it even with 3 in the stack. Who's this guy now? Like, so every throw, even if he throws it to this guy, like in 2 or 3 seconds, like any throw Mikkel makes is a reset now. Like his main 1v1 look is already done. So he's pretty much just resetting the disc unless like something like, there's no way you just chuck this up until it's stall 9.
Jimmy Mikkel.
He gets his one look,
If you're
and now it's
Jimmy
just a
Mikkel,
reset.
You need to just go ahead and abuse that.
Like the guy that got the
Catch
disc
every
right
other
now,
man.
who's that, Montague? Can you rewind it?
Yeah.
So right when Mikkel caught the disc.
Mikkel. Interesting matchup here.
Okay,
with
right
Muffin.
here, Montague is parallel, right? In the middle of the field between the hashes. And there's already somebody in the dump space. For my intents and purposes, I believe that there should be an isolation. So in my perfect world, Montague should be clearing strike or just getting out of there.
This guy here needs to clear out because he wants the dump space too, but you already got a guy in the dump space.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But he doesn't. And so I think that's not good spacing. Whatever.
Yeah, he clogs it
Yeah.
up a little bit.
And if you're Jimmy Mikkel, you
Because
need
this
to
guy,
go ahead-
I mean, it made this guy clear out. This guy didn't have a choice. You know?
Yeah.
Because right here, oh shoot.
With
like-
Muffin guarding Jimmy
Like this
Mikkel.
guy just doesn't have a choice. He can't
if you're
cut this
Jimmy
way.
Mikkel,
Right.
you need
Like that
to
guy's gonna
go
poach
ahead
it.
and abuse
And
that.
what do they
Go
get?
Catch it
That.
every other.
Just
Muffin
a
loves to
dump.
Poach.
A dump like
Simon Montague loves to
15
throw
yards,
that
10 yards
backhand.
straight behind. Like
Yep.
maybe the worst
Now
thing you
Driscoll
can do.
underneath.
And like and like yeah, and now they're just kind of just
Connection,
slowly,
knees
they're just kind of
on the
working their way up the
You know,
field.
as a
Oh
D-line
shit,
player
that wasn't
myself,
me.
you-
That was
it
bad
takes a
editing.
lot
Oh, someone called
effort and
timeout.
fatigue to switch gears and be making offensive solid decisions rather than just bringing that aggression and that energy during a D point.
A lot of people talk about the hardest role, the hardest position to play in Ultimate, and they talk about that D-line handler position because
You guys agree? D-line handler
D-line
position,
handler?
the most difficult to play in. I feel
Blake
like
says no.
I feel like D-line cutters is tougher because you just get roasted deep at any time.
I got to hear
Handler,
his,
you can
his
at least
argument.
corral them a little bit. I don't know.
I got to hear his argument first.
of the mental switch. They talk about that D-line handler position because of the mental switch that you do have to make, like you said, Ryan, and it's really true.
Oh,
gotta
he's talking
maintain
about from
composure
when you
and at
have
the
to
same
start
time
playing
get your team
offense
towards the
after you
break.
get the D.
Here we see Wallach underneath.
I don't know.
Marked by Mikkel.
Cutter
Wallach's gonna rip
has
one
a
deep. Montague in the area. Montague
pretty good look at that too.
makes a bid, but Adrian Banerjee comes away with this
I
one.
mean, that's
and
just
now
taking your shots on the
Banerjee's going to
D-line, right?
break
You just put
around
up that
the
huck
mark.
from way back there.
And Banerjee throws his hands in the air because that's the third comeback for.
All right, this game's gonna be over in a second. We'll watch another
Not very
couple
much
points. I feel like this is a
performance
pretty good
here.
example of just a
Civic,
couple vert stacks, though.
Let's
The next game I'm gonna go into is gonna be
They're a program
with the
that
Buzz
is very
Bullets,
intense
'cause I
every
wanna look at
year.
their,
Obviously, there's been a lot of turnover in the
they run
coaching
host stack, but
scene in the
they
US
run a
this
lot of
year,
good handler
and
like
maybe less
spacing
so for
as
a
far
team like
as
Boston. So I think
the way
feel
they
pretty good
square
about their
up to
chances.
the
They're
field
excited
when they're
take
ready
part
to
in the
reset the
Triple Crown
disc. They like
Tour
square up to
and
their mark
just
and
experience
they
the new setup
use
for
those
the club
spaces pretty
season.
well when they square up like
Kern's
that.
gonna take a chance here deep to Han.
Oh, we got unlimited minutes. Let's
Not
go.
enough IO bite on that one from Kearns. And that's not a,
Pretty poor
a
decision.
normal difficult his throw choices are. That was a really tight window that he had to hit and a difficult throw.
Little different situation, but Dylan's throw earlier was that IO backhand into space as well, which the window is not huge.
Oh, he's getting hand blocked on that?
Which the window
Yeah,
is not
I
huge.
think so.
on the hook.
And a great play by Aaron Neal basically saves a goal.
I mean, they just weren't that organized. That guy had to do a full speed sprint not to get pre-stalled, but this is some end zone vert, which, I mean, end zone vert has pretty much the same rules. It's just that the deep space is kind of different.
Will Neff unmarked going deep. Muffin tried to fire one deep, but Neal got into the lane and saved it.
Really savvy play by Neal there.
He said eyes
Neal's
only for
gonna
Mikkel.
get-
Really big play. Disc after.
And it's a good thing because Neal wasn't on Kern that one. And
What's going on? All right.
Kevin Min left to right, Dylan, Erickson, Driscoll, Sion, Jannon, Montague.
All right, quick poll. Do you think he gets this inbounds or out of bounds?
Dylan
Out of bounds.
Freechild to pull.
I'll go inbounds.
Very high. Oh, it's just falling right down.
Taylor to Rebholz. No one in the middle of the field for
Take a pull to the 5-yard dead center of the field every time over out of bounds.
Ironside. Stubbs takes off deep with Pryal underneath. And Pryal with Stubbs.
That's the depth of vert stack cut that we're trying to get. Let's watch this one.
Taylor to Rebholz.
All right, they're in like a set play because they're probably
No
getting
one in the
poached.
middle of the field for Ironside. Stubbs takes off deep with Pryal underneath.
But now, like as this guy, like here's the vert stack. It's sort of a side stack, but here's their vert stack on the sideline. So this throw's already in the air, and so by the time he catches it, like I think this is the third guy. This is the third guy in the stack. Like he's gonna catch it, and this guy's already gonna be setting up a deep cut and just gonna have the entire field because of how many yards they gain on this pass.
And Pryal with Stubbs isolated against Freechild. Takes yards. Cricket running deep. Stubbs is going to put
And then
it
that
up
was just
there,
another
but
isolation.
Trent Dillon is there. Takes
They just
yards.
cleared out the space. I mean, that's all that like.
And Pryal
So he gets his isolation. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the big gainers so we can get an isolation look.
with Stubbs isolated against Freechild.
And then this guy clears out and it sets it up for this guy.
Takes yards. Cricket.
I mean, easy
Yeah, he's got
decision.
2 cuts there.
Easy decision. Yeah.
Cricket running deep. Stubbs is going to put it up there, but Trent Dillon is there, but Cricket brings it down for another.
And that was like a
goal.
properly shaped pass
Trent
too.
Dillon
Like
not happy with
the
himself.
over
Great play by
the edge.
Cricket.
Offensive guy's
Stubbs,
position the whole
A
time.
blade.
Now, I do have like a question about that. Like, it worked out really well, but it seemed like, I guess, thinking about spacing, like, somebody's entering the space while somebody's leaving the space. Is that some? I feel like that's something that, you know what I'm saying? Like, the guy who eventually gets it is leaving this to go to the deep space while somebody else is coming into that same space. I feel like that's maybe something that we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Mainly-
I think it's just kind of so they get their pass up.
Yeah.
And then
Isolated
you're talking
free
about like
child.
right now, kind of, because like
Yeah.
I agree.
They're going to be entering the
both-
same space right here.
They're both cutting on like that's kind of like why sometimes I like the left and right, but like they're cutting on like this. They're both cutting through here. Like one guy's going deep through there and one guy's coming in through there, which is why he can't throw the under probably, but it does work out for him.
Mm-hmm.
It might be better if this I think they said it was Stubbs, the guy who's deep right now. It's tough to say, like, should this guy be on the break side? It works out, so it's tough to say, but
Yeah, I guess
I
I.
definitely see what you're
Cricket running
saying.
deep. Stubbs
Yeah.
is gonna
Because
I think-
this dude could get a hand block if he's a baller.
isolated against Freechild.
True.
Takes yards.
I mean, yeah, you don't want to be this close together making cuts.
Yeah, that looks like pick central potentially.
Like, what if number 3 here is like loves throwing in cuts and kind of tunnel vision to this guy? Like maybe this dude gets a block if they run a bracket. You know, they're not running a bracket, but I definitely see what you're saying, Nick.
Yeah.
Cricket
You want to
running
make
deep.
it better
Stubbs is
from the
going to put it
offense
up there,
perspective?
but Trent
Take
Yeah.
that cut all the way to the sideline. That deep cut, go all the way to the break side, other side of the mark before you go deep.
This guy
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
he should come all the way across here so that this space is open for him.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
6 yards. Cricket running deep. Stubbs is going to put it up there, but
Yeah,
Trent
that helps
Dillon
with the
is
timing
there,
too,
but
a little bit
Cricket
better.
Brings
Mhm.
it down for play by Crick out.
Cricket, great frisbee
So
man.
it hung up.
Side. Next to
Game. I know it on the line, and then
So as the train goes by, Neff rips a Blady backhand. And I think we're going to see that flood play
Oh, I'm not
again
even-
here.
Sharing the right screen, am I?
And it works
Oh, no.
again 4
No, you are.
times so far
Okay.
for the bus. And Clark's going to rip one deep. He's got Mickle streaking, and this one is out of reach. So a misfire by Clark to a wide open Mickle. And Ironside's got a chance to close this one out.
just that half step of fatigue on the cuts, a little bit on the decision making, the execution on the throw. Thin roster. I tip my cap to these next gen guys. They're laying it all out on the line for these fans.
Simmons working with Montgomery Butler. Now underneath to Neff. Neff looks off a big throw, chooses to go underneath to McNaughton. Now McNaughton flips to Neff.
I mean, I don't know what they were doing there on that until now they're finally back in their set.
Yeah, it looked like they were running Hostak for the first half.
Yeah.
And Wallach not able to come up with a low throw from Will Neff. Bit of confusion on the field as Next Gen resets their offense. Montague comes and gets it. Tight pressure from Simmons.
Simmons'
Mickle.
energy as a D-line defender is really impressive. Neal with his second goal in a row for Next Gen. I was just commenting on Alex Simmons. He's the
Let's watch this game, man.
Play at the
Jim Fox year, but Simmons
put in a case for him.
Consistent
Higher side
like,
with
pull
their
to the
first
5-yard
O
line.
point to try to close it out. Taylor looks off an open cut on the sideline, and Capino.
Oh no!
and after making a couple big plays, Capinos has made a few careless errors here in the second half. A throw.
I noticed they do
punt
that.
we
They
talked
run that
about,
set
and
play
then
that's
there,
just
just
like a
stone cold
super
drop.
spread out, cut to the middle, cut to like the dead center of the field
Free child
for a lot of
flips
their
one
like
high
opening
over the
cuts,
top to Trent
and then they
Dillon.
fill in the vert afterwards, or
Dillon.
like do like a side stack
Back to
afterwards.
Freechild. And Trent Dillon burns his man up line, and nice job by Trent. Much to hand. Others forced air line boots.
They got shows really
Playing
I'm reading the chat, and I think that Tyrod and Blake are having a good discussion.
Oh.
They're talking about. So I know we talked about earlier how going to the fourth sideline and maybe gaining 5 yards is not worth.
his father actually played Club Ultimate.
Mhm.
I guess is the motion sometimes worth it, like off of a dead disc?
Dillon, of course.
I guess is the question that's being posed there.
I think we'd rather have that run into our reset, like what we actually want
Burns
to have
marked
planned from a
Taylor,
reset
and
if
you can
possible,
see
rather
a
than
deep
from a
vertical
cutter.
stack with no one in the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, I
Red
think
holds front of the stack and Mark
I think you're
Metcalf
looking.
is
We're
Shannon.
looking for your first cut. You have your first main cut. Your guy from the back of the stack.
underneath.
And I feel like if you don't get that cut, almost anything else you
To
do is a
Taylor.
reset.
Taylor
And so
all
if
the
you're
way
going to
around
just throw it to the
Marquette.
fourth sideline because that's
Marquette
like an
marked
easy
by Jim.
reset to complete, I don't think that's the worst thing in the
Nice
world. But I
inside
think you probably
throw
should have
from
like a plan of
Marquette to
action.
Reb Holtz on the
Like if you're just
doorstep
going
of
to
the
swing it to the
victory.
fourth side to
Back
get,
Taylor.
like you
Nice
said,
from
to
the
get
bus.
motion going.
Oh,
Like
no.
you better have a plan for the next set. Like
Massive
we better
big
have
from
like the
Dillon
four in the
energy
stack better
there,
be ready to make
but
that
Peter
next
Pratt
cut.
able to
Or
come
as a
up with
handler,
it,
if you're making that swing, like go
catching
get
the
that
game
back
winner.
on like a power position strike or
And the
something right
mark
away.
falls
That's what I
That
think.
makes sense. So like if you know you can get it back immediately,
There by
maybe it's worth it.
Taylor.
But more likely, it sounds like you should still look for that
Come away with it.
that
The
that other
speed
handle space instead, because you're basically getting the same
side.
thing out of it. Is what I hear you saying?
I mean, yeah, like
Highlights
going back
all
to
over the place. Great matchups. What was the difference
hang
here
on,
for
let's see,
Ironside?
guys. Going back to I thought I had the I thought I had the VertStack 101 on here. Principle one of the VertStack 101 from last week was retain the disc at all costs. So throwing it to the fourth side on a free under is definitely retaining the disc.
It became
Is this one Sharon?
Yeah.
All right. So I mean,
I think I agree. I think I agree with Blake, just to kind of like butt in, but
what's
I
Blake
think I
say?
definitely
I'm sorry,
agree
I'm
with
not
Blake.
reading the
Like
chat.
you definitely, in my opinion, hit what's open. Obviously, you have an offensive scheme. That's why we practice. But like to just continue the disc just because someone's open, maybe like 3 or 4 more yards down the field because he's wide open. Like I'm gonna hit that all the time. Like I'm never gonna just pass that up. That person that I get the disc to, like, should be just as aware of our offense and how to reset it to a handler as the person that threw it to him.
Yeah.
Like
And
I'd
that-
rather keep the defense moving.
I agree. I do agree. Every completed pass is worth it. Like, and I don't think it's so much even on that guy you're throwing it to. If you're just open under and you get the pass to you, it's more on who's the new back of the stack and like they have to understand their timing. Like they should be able to read that guy is wide open. We're about to get a pass there and make a timing cut based on that. I think that all makes sense. I just think that the stuff I'm really focused on is really like, I mean, maybe this is just my tunnel vision right now, but those passes that gain a lot of yards is what I really like to see right now to these vert stacks and some of these videos. So
I think a powerful way
but
for the youth to have access to
good
their
shit.
role
I got the
models,
chat going now.
right? The youth club teams don't play until I think this afternoon, maybe starting in the.
I just had to show my boys the
get
Buzz
eyes
Bullets.
on someone amazing. Be
They don't run
inspired to
vert
play
stack,
their
but
best, and
I like to
think
watch the
they're
way
gonna
they
remember it for a
do
long
their
time.
resets, especially by the
Goes
end
up. Buzz
zone.
Bullets will start with the disc in black, looking for a big hook downfield.
And
They
I
will
think
bring
that
it back down again.
there's a lot to learn from their deep looks that they
New York
choose to
will
take
try
because
to
they
stop
never
the
throw the
small
disc higher
space
than like
action
12 feet
and
in the
quick
air.
movement of
And they
the
take a
Buzz
lot of deep
Bullets.
looks still with
And
just
we'll see
straight
if the Buzz
lines.
Bullets succeed or if they will jack it deep. They had some success putting it deep yesterday against the game we saw on Sub-Zero.
And then
The
Pony
jump
runs
comes
vert
back
stack,
over
so
here to
their
Tomoto.
possessions will be vert stack.
Pony coach noticing that number 24 on Buzz Bullets, Arakawa, was one of the primary threats. So you can look for Pony's defense to try to keep him out of the end zone. But maybe they didn't know about.
Space.
Comes in perfectly.
Well, we saw this in the game. Both of the Japanese teams that we were able to see yesterday.
Good guy.
Matt Cutter goes like all the way into the backfield to get that reset. Kind of the same situation you're talking about, like it's that don't get good yards or good field position. But if you watch what the person that threw it to him does, they reset it immediately back to the middle to give themselves a new space to attack.
All right, that guy cuts way. The blue hat guy cuts way deep. Get right back
Pony
in the middle.
coach
Yeah, you gotta have a
noticing
plan.
that number 24 on Buzz Bullets, Arakawa, was one of the primary threats. So you can look for Pony's defense to try to keep him out of the end zone.
Dang, that was like a little like that's like the classic flood play out of a vert where your whole team clears out the back and the front of the stack goes deep.
So you can look for Pony's defense to try to keep
Nice.
in the start the game from really these throws in the middle.
A hallmark.
This might be one of my celebrations this year, actually. Where to go?
From
wind that is a lot of these throws
Right
are
there. I'm just gonna do that a lot.
middle.
Hallmark that in the inside spaces, and they kind of go together a little bit, Aaron, right? Because it's like to throw in those a little bit of an. That's what's going to.
So how long in between points? 90 seconds.
Offense here. They did take a loss yesterday to Ring of Fire as Harper Garvey will receive this and move it up to Sean Keegan out of the vertical stack. A look for Jimmy Mickle. They told us they didn't want to throw the big throw, and the Buzz Bullets told us they wanted to force New York to throw the big throw. So we'll look for that today. Kind of a surprising twist on it, maybe, with the height advantage in the throwers on this New York team, to think that Japan wants them to throw and to think that New York doesn't want to throw the big throw. I find that surprising a little bit as we see Koch.
That's right out of Dan and David's presentation. For the handler look that they do, this guy gets out, and then this guy gets both choices. Takes the deep, takes the dump.
Here, move it over to Garvey.
Big swing.
Up to Mickle, but there's a pick call, so Mickle will drop it back down to Garvey. Chris Kocher, Team USA All-World. Jimmy Mickle, of course, a multiple-time champion here.
Yeah, it also fits in with the idea to have that
this team won nationals
dump
in the United States
start
last year and this
upfield,
tournament, of course,
so that you,
defeated Buzz Bullets
even if you do choose that dump
New
space
addition, Grant
over the
Lindsley
strike,
here, number 10.
you're not losing as many
Tried
yards.
to hit Garvey up
Yeah,
line.
they set up that way again there too. He sets up a good like 2-3 yards
And it's a quick
upfield.
hold from New York using short passes.
Pony coach Brian Jones, defensive sets, but a fly on the wall for to here. We have the capability
Just
to
get
do that
observer close up.
combination as it occurs, so that'll be cool.
Hi, I'm Rue.
You guys watch this
I
one?
would love to
Shit's
present you
crazy.
with a business opportunity. Okay.
It's only 22 more seconds. If you guys want.
However hard.
Early at Pony now. There's a new face on the squad. We'll get the chance here to rip one down for them. Although I gotta say, Mascara still better.
And now we probably have a whole reel of just her pulls that are amazing. That would be such a good technical reel to put out in the world. Here's Corono.
Hawaii.
Will center it. That is to
Arakawa.
Quick movement here is going to work if it stays in bounds, and it does.
Not really much vert stuff for spacing to really learn about there. Just some good. I mean, they threw it into the middle space where we would put our stack. That was their main pass that time, so it doesn't really translate.
No surprise as they had success the first time. Garvey and Keegan in the backfield. Two potent throwers. Kocher, the quick cutter, and it's a design play to open up Mickle over here, but the defense is really.
I mean, I noticed quite a few vert teams doing that, running like just an isolation into a side stack when they get poached.
Really poaching now, kind of a amoeba zone look from Japan.
Yeah, BuzzBullets cycling through a lot of different defensive looks
zone,
where they clog up lanes. They are trying to make Pony make a mistake. I don't think that their goal here is to make any stunning layout.
Yeah, I think when we play against a zone, like the good thing is that even when we did host stack, we weren't just running a normal host stack against the zone. We had plans as far as how we wanted to do that with 4 handlers back, or whether we wanted to go around or over the different zones. So we still want to approach that the same way and then just call into our vert if we get the opportunity with man.
Yeah, and if teams switch down to man, just call into vert whenever they switch to man.
Yeah.
This is why we got to practice our hammers, though.
These throws to be 2 inches.
I mean, throw a hammer just makes it there.
They may, and
I don't know.
Maybe an opportunity here for
not typical. He usually can put a lot.
Yeah, we've seen that throw before.
Power behind a throw, and that was lazy to Ike Saul, and just found the turf right away. No chance for Saul.
Let's see, they're host stacking.
We'll see what the Pony O-line defense can do.
But this handler movement is
D-line offense is
stuff you would see out of a stack.
Just a triangle handler. Instead, it's caught by number 18 Furuzawa. Furuzawa centers it, and there is a call, a travel.
Ooh, tough call.
Yeah, he does leave his feet as he throws this, I think.
Was your travel call? You called the travel.
Let's see. I want to see the travel.
That was it.
Direction.
Come on.
We're gonna be 1.
A big turn of events there. Both teams are gonna have to adjust.
Oh, it was on the huck. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
To really find a way to keep those feet planted. This is a big huck coming up again. Lindsley on the defense.
So they're all star.
They'll both go up, and it's a turn.
I think there might be a call back travel, or that he should have tapped, or at least to the spot.
Violation.
That's so travel. So Jonah is saying.
You threw it from out of bounds. Okay, so
we're gonna see that again.
1.
Okay.
We're gonna be in on 1.
All right.
Okay,
nice.
So this does benefit BuzzBullets.
Okay. I do agree with Garvey that he was out of bounds when he threw that. But so far, BuzzBullets getting 3 shots. Ooh,
oh my gosh,
at this
Jesus.
Potential break opportunity. Every throw currently contested by that Pony O-line.
All right.
The throw
out
from
of bounds
Matsuno
again
is
from
up,
the throw,
and it's a goal and a break for the
he didn't reset. It was off a foul.
But Breakley.
Couple more in those.
Now the guy pushed him out of bounds and called travel on him when he doesn't reset.
At all.
Well,
so
actually,
he got pretty much back.
D-line truck stop. Defense, they'll bring Matsuno
right,
over.
Let's see what they
right
do
now,
here.
I'm sure they're happy to keep him on D as they are up a break.
Got down a break, side stacking.
With Tulsa Douglas being on the D-line, seemingly to kind of anchor that D-line offense to.
Yeah, I think isolating Mick was probably a good idea.
Breaks. Here's Mick.
Yeah, and see now they pretty much fall into just a vert in a second.
As Pony works it.
They clear into the middle at least most of the time.
Keegan now to Lindsley again. And trying to find the spaces.
Yeah, Harper's setting it now.
Stuber, of course, back to Keegan. And now this looks like it's going to be a person defense.
And this reminds me, for people who were on the 2018 team, about how we had set plays out of both vert and horizontal, but then we would flow into the hex if we didn't get quick score off of the set play. So it's same concept as what we would do with, vert is just what we want to run when we're trying to get into flow. It doesn't have to be where we start necessarily every point.
Yeah, and each point they kind of fall into vert at a different point in time. They kind of stay into their spread, like especially when they're getting poached. It always changes when the poach kind of turns into man. So
on a national stage, and
it's interesting because when they're getting poached like that, like all the spaces that are on the field, people are actually like kind of makes sense to occupy some of the spaces when you're getting poached because you can just throw right to the space.
Mm-hmm.
But then like once the poach turns into man, then you have to start gathering back in the middle again. It's just kind of interesting when teams like make the changes.
This will sail out
See if
of
Japan
bounds.
does anything
Shorter field.
vert related
We'll
here.
see him later in the season. He's not available for this
Nah, it's a
tournament.
big old host stack.
Similar to last year.
They sit their
Now he's not
handlers
on
really
the
far
roster
back
for
on the
this tournament
resets.
and did make appearances later on, help them to win, of course, the national championship. Quick movement here from the Buzz Bullets as they will look downfield with Shiba, number 97.
Tyrup's taking us on a journey right
Shiba
now.
making some good moves. Got open on Alarcon, but the throw isn't there. Watch out for number 17, of course, Furcada. He's got the big arm if they need it. Fakes the hammer, looks to drop it off, slices one. That's that edge throw. So good from Japan and the Buzz Bullets.
Still looks like pure person defense right here from Pony. So looks like Coach Brian Jones might still be in a little bit of have some sort of deep throw.
Katsuta with the disc, Katsuta. And Yohei Kichikawa, we talked about a little bit yesterday, number 12 is hanging around with him. Well, he's going to get this right now. Yohei played great yesterday, the 42-year-old, 20-year veteran of the Buzz Bullets with the disc in his hands. Up to Shiba. They're trying to find the space.
Like, I don't know. That's just like, this looks terrible.
Great patience here from Japan and great defense from
Everybody wants the same space.
Like, I think that's what vert, as opposed to like Ho or Hex, is going to help us with. Much more defined, like who's making that cut is much more defined.
This space is great patience here from Japan and great defense from New York. Up to now, that is what was called a travel yesterday, not a call.
I think nationals tournament they practiced.
That inside out was crazy.
Really pro elsewhere is to be.
But if you got it.
So they're on year 30 now of the Buzz Bullets. There was an American tour over in Japan that brought some discs and started the scene over there in the 70s, and this is the result of that.
Isaiah, we got to get
yes,
half as many sponsors as they have.
To be the #1 team in the world and to beat the Americans, then
dude, give me one sponsor and I'm living my best life.
And that's why you see this.
Yeah, we could secure Tigers again.
We got to get Mutual of Omaha. We got to get on Lakes Case.
Dude, the line would look sick.
Dude, I would rock it.
I've heard you've been talking to Lulu, Isaiah.
We'll change our name to Pony, be P-O-N-E.
I put in the application for Lulu. I'm trying to get Lulu pants, bro.
Oh, yeah. I like this play though, right here, where they just go, this guy's just like, this guy obviously doesn't want to make a big throw. Just throws the dump, and then it's just like the most blatant clear out. He's not, no one's even guarding him, but he's just like, I'm the clear out. Like, he just runs deep. He just gets out of the play. Like, I don't know.
Keegan has big throws, but he'll go through the middle to Kocher.
Breaks up the poaches, absorbs a deep poach.
Same with this man, Lindsley. Lindsley will put it deep to Kocher. And Kocher has
That's that over the shoulder flick. Not going to block that.
There. In flow, Lindsley to Kocher.
Let's jump to like the second half.
The Winter Olympics on NBC and Peacock.
Watch curling for our boy Schuster, former Ultimate player turned Olympic curler.
Because it gives me competitive advantage.
Nice.
I'm pushing my
players everywhere for Pony. They just have to
7-9. Pretty close game.
And now it looks like it's crumbled into a tight spot. And now it's
coming up to an hour. I didn't think this would.
For his typical
I mean, I could literally sit here for forever, so I don't want to like keep anybody or anything like that.
A lot of players on this point holstered some deep looks.
I don't know what to say now. I got my main points out earlier on, which I'm gonna go back to that since people showed up throughout the thing.
And the better position of.
I'll go back to the game in a sec.
Players that tried to go deep that point and were looked off.
I was just gonna say this here. This is what I was liking. This is what I wanted to show off. Was just this setup of zones where like where we're like, if this is like our third guy in the stack, fourth guy, fifth guy in the stack, and you're making in cuts, like you can attack this whole deep space, and then like you're making an in cut and you're trying to catch it, you know, even in line with the third in the stack, because then basically you're not in the stack anymore and you just caught the disc right here. and this guy is like directly even with you. Like that's such an easy cut. You can make any cut in the world off that. So
yeah,
that's the biggest spacing thing I wanted to talk about. I mean, I'm just going to go back to the game, and I'm just going to chill for a while. And I don't know, whenever you want to end this thing, end it. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to re-emphasize based off what you're talking about. You know, these are the cuts that we want to set up. We know that there's going to be other times where we have to adapt to the situation. We're going to have some growing pains also. We're not going to get that perfect cut every single time. But clearing back to the middle off of that is really important, and remembering that like your cut is just one of the cuts that we're looking at, right? And then we have that reset and trust that the offense is going to work. That's going to be something we build all season, so that when it does work to get that cut for you, you've got that opportunity to shoot that deep if you have the green light for that throw. So if you don't, you know, the good thing is we're leveraging that space for that person to be able to know that you have the disc, and maybe you're not comfortable with that deep throw, so they can work back under for you. But because you've threatened the field to open up that space, they're going to be able to work their cut all the way deep and then come back under for you to still get a good gain as well. So yeah, you can enjoy the game from here.
He cycles it back to Matt Lamar. Lamar up to Alarcon.
These around breaks are so valuable.
We're seeing everyone from Pony's roster has been on the field today. Marquez Brownlee will get this one. Fakes and drops it back to Lamar.
I like that when that cutter had the disc, it was very quick. Like you could see his whole process as far as like, here's my 2 looks upfield, and then I'm looking for my reset and it's already there. Like the offense is working real smooth.
Yeah, this has been pretty good. This guy here takes his look,
second look, reset.
Clears deep so he doesn't get in the way of other stuff too. Deep down the break side. Out of the foresight, I guess. Japan's kind of like running force middle too, it looks like. Which does make sense against Bird Stack, I think. Since that's where they're going to be recycling their players and resting, you would just force the disc towards that part of the field and try and protect the sidelines more.
Yeah.
But if you're spacing out right, that should probably be a free throw all the time.
Oh.
Yeah. I like this guy in the back just setting that stacks, like just he was standing perfectly still for like 4 seconds. Did I mute this? Yeah.
Here from Pony.
Great patience.
And a call.
Yeah, Brownlee will hold green right now. Kichikawa, of course. Brownlee trying to find Lamar, and he will. Excellent defense here from the Buzz Bullets. They got to hold if they want to chance at this game. The hammer from Lamar. It's up high.
Oh my gosh.
It's bitted on it.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Hammer from Lamar. Defense here.
I mean, all right. I'm just going to watch this. This guy's probably better than me, but whatever.
Defense here from the.
What's that, Billy?
I said we're still green lighting hammers, right?
Yeah, dude. This guy practices hammers at least like an hour a week.
It's just they greenlit that hammer, and then they didn't greenlight the hammer to the guy that was standing there for like 4 seconds. You commented on earlier.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Brownlee doesn't have the green light, I guess. But yeah, it's like that was kind of unfortunate timing for this first cut for him. He couldn't throw like an immediate backhand score, and then it's like, here's his second cut. This guy bails on him immediately. He knows he's not going to get open.
Defense here from the Buzz Bullets. They got.
Yeah.
Poach.
That's the.
I guess it's just a poached and turned him into a stall 8 hammer.
Want a chance at this game? The hammer from Lamar. It's up high. It's too high.
Yeah.
It's bitted on
Wow.
and caught.
Wow.
It's not a terrible decision. You just throw that. maybe a different. That's maybe a scuba going down that side of the field,
from
right?
Lamar. It's up high. It's too high.
From the break side, would you rather throw a scuba?
You got last bit. There's a little that led to this.
Yeah, our end zone should look different than that, but
I'm gonna say that clean. Yeah,
great catch.
I mean, that's gonna happen at least once.
Really good at that. There's a good matchup.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is, I would say, from what Dave
those two
has shown us and what happened there is like,
so Aaron, to your point, like,
that
it was
that handler where Brownlee would be the person who'd get that strike,
at the end of the day, they got
and then would get that that clear instead of it being that person who's at one in the stack, basically leaving their defender in the space, creating that poach opportunity. But that can also be fixed with some communication.
Yeah. Let's go back to it really quick just to say. So, like, all right. Let's get it over to this guy. So whatever, unlucky timing. And so all right. So this is the play you're talking about, right, Bals?
Yeah. So the guy that's one in the stack here is not. So well, Brownlee is the handler reset. Brownlee is the handler reset, and so that guy that you're circling right now is the one he's the one who tries to take the space. You advance it.
Right, but if he was patient, yeah,
he should wait for Brownlee to be the look really based off of what we want to try to do. And then that's going to be a strike first, and then like a 7 look from Brownlee, so that we hopefully clear that poach out, and like even clear back to the stack,
or even just not let him poach. Like if he just stays right here, then this guy never poaches, right? If he keeps him right here, then Brownlee can still run his 7 cut.
Our 1 and 2 in the stack are going to be basically the only ones that are moving, so he doesn't ever need to turn his back completely to the person with the disc there to lose, like to give his person the opportunity to poach. Yeah, that's where he makes his first mistake. But if he does that, like Brownlee also has to see that poach and like fake the strike.
The thing is, these guys are just absolutely locked onto each other, and I think this guy knows it. He knows that he saw all that. It's a good poach. All right, that's a good one.
In a sense that they were able to play such excellent defense, but at the end of the day, they got broken, and this is an elimination game.
True, it's true. But remember, you know, for both of these teams, the U.S. Open, the U.S. Open is a midpoint.
Got to throw that another 15 yards.
Story for the American teams, and for a Japanese team, I think their nationals already occurred, right? This probably is just investing in their future. They're gonna strategy. So.
Roster this year, Mac Hatch for the best, and so
I don't know what you meant to do.
Team, people will flock to you to play with.
So they're starting side stack here. It's interesting.
Region or have the like career flexibility to make that move. If that's something they want to do and play for the best, then they'll find a way to do it. This is a nice little look. Oh.
They just decided they're hooking it to Blue Hat. That was their latest adjustment. They're like, we're down 5. Let's just hook it to Blue Hat.
Things out there.
And this team playing for so long at
the
highest
guys looking like Grant
with such a veteran talent, and he said because the dream is.
All right, what's the pull play here? What are you calling, Bals?
Nickel deep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nickel deep.
He's probably going to be the one that gets the disc.
Still alive.
It's a fun way to look at it and a fun way to drive your team. Here we go in a similar set.
Kotcher.
It looks like this just maybe looks like vert flow for Pony.
And they will reset to Keegan.
The front of the stack almost got in their way again.
Kind of what we saw a lot from Pony last year, the vertical stack. Lindsay puts on the Jets in front of Sheba. Mickle's first touch here, and he'll put it. Nice edge on this one to Chris Kotcher.
Nice.
The teammates on Colony.
Can we watch that series again?
Japanning Japan.
It's a fun way to look at it.
Yeah, with the
fun way to
blade.
drive your team. Here we go in
so ISO'd front stack.
Similar set play. It looks like
that's a pretty good depth cut.
Yeah.
For Pony.
And they will reset to Keegan.
That's good. Good handler motion.
This is kind of
keep it going to the break side.
The vertical stack. Lindsay puts on the Jets.
I mean, that's that We talked about that one earlier. That was that's just the force side throw to gain a few yards and keep that flow going. So looks like it's a good decision for him.
And it's also interesting because every upfield throw on this whole set, other than the last one, is force side, and they're just like jamming it up the sideline. And I feel like a lot of people have been not wanting to like think of that as an option. Whereas you have to realize, like, as long as you're smart about your timing with it, especially like once you catch the disc, you only get one opportunity to look upfield right away. And then you swing it from there. Then it's not a big deal. And then the other part of it is, as you can see with this last throw, when you're on that force sideline, you have like the force side under still open, but you have the entire deep space open as long as you have that throw. It's not necessarily like, I feel like a lot of people get really scared of holding the disc on the sideline, when as long as you can hit a break throw or throw it deep, it's not a big deal.
I agree. Like, this guy knows he can throw a pass to this dude, like, so he can take a look. He gets his under, whatever.
Mickle's first touch here, and he'll put it.
That's just a
edge on this one to Chris Cobb.
And the thing that's good about that, like what Blake was talking about, on the fact that, you know, almost all of their throws were to that force side. Like, if we're going to get open there, like, that's great, and we should hit it. But the reason why they were able to do that as many times as they were is because in the middle of their possession, they were able to get that one break throw and then continue it, so that they had basically the entire force side of the field back to work with. Like that.
That's this guy right here.
A similar
so Grant Lindsley right here has one look upfield, fakes it off, and then looks break side instead of like just looking upfield the whole time. So yeah, I mean, as long as you can
super good communication with his.
Yeah.
Similar set.
Yeah, and
like,
if he had
like
someone open, he was going to throw it, right? Like, if that lick was open, he would have thrown it, but it's not there.
It's just staying disciplined. Like even in our last meeting, like we said, you look downfield for 2 seconds. Like, that's one look. Like,
there goes one look.
It's not about like trying to make a hero throw. Like, they're literally just running the system. If the look's there, it's there. If it's not, they swing.
Right.
Yeah, and that's not even a hero shot at the end. That's just you worked it up the force side so many times that the defense has to respect the force side so much that you get that over the top. Like,
and you're Jimmy Mickle, and you can do anything.
I mean, I got that throw.
We can make that throw.
The 5-point difference in the game illustrates that change from
all
the
day.
first half. So we've settled in. We're tactical now to try.
Key to this game is just have a blue hat, catch some scores.
I'll give you some quick score updates. Sockeye Nomadic Tribe, Sockeye up 9-8. That's a close one, tight all game.
Wait, you say Sockeye is playing against Nomad? What?
Brute Squad versus the German national team.
Hey, a lot of buzz about Nomad getting some transplants, some Tennessee guys, and some other people that moved to the South Dakota area recently. So
nice.
They're really looking to do their thing this year.
Oh yeah. Is that the name they're going with? Do you know?
Yeah, so far.
Yeah. It's a good one.
See, Isaiah.
Breaking cut in the backfield. Just
it doesn't automatically bring up new messages.
Excellent turning, excellent speed.
Yep. See you guys. Yeah, drop off whenever. I mean, I'm just chilling. I don't want to take anybody's time.
Yes.
I got one more game. We can watch a different game. I got one other one that I had lined up. Let's see.
My name is Mario.
Actually,